want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right. So that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack. But then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And, dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you're going between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally. Because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Welcome to another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels, and I am absolutely, positively ecstatic. Remember when we used to be on the other side? Remember when we used to have it to where it was basically with the little thing background, with the painting background that was over there? Good times. But we've evolved, we've grown. We are back in the studio, downtown Detroit, in the building. And we happy to be here. Let me get a general idea of how y'all feel in the chat. What's y'all sentiment? One word. How do you feel in the chat? We got the Detroit fireworks today. I'm supposed to be sitting on the rooftop. We'll figure that out. What's up, Leslie, Aaron? What's up? Good morning. Good morning to the Gray Way. B Humbug. What's happening? K Cooper. Mr. BX. Mr. Rogers. Culture Aquatic Radio. I see y'all. Shanita J. A. Wyatt. Davanan Salik. Vanessa. My dog Yakar. Wealth Journey. Brandy. Hellcat is in the building. Grayway. I see y'all. You said blessed, awesome, accomplished, blessed, alive, grateful. Tad. Little black duck always tad. That ain't nothing new. We so used to little black duck saying that they tad. Energized. Good morning, AD and the Bag Chasers. What up, though? Good morning, sleepy, amazing, peaceful. Rested, great, winning, ecstatic, optimistic, great, soar. Great, motivated, blessed. Good morning, Grand Rising. Refreshed, ready, phenomenal, motivated, says Miss T. Jones. Coolin', says Mism. Ready, stable. What's up, sister? Says treadmilling and treadmilling. Devonna says blessed. I feel blessed. Good morning. Anton says AP 1804. Connie, what up, Connie? Good morning. Chase Barnes. Dietrich says salute. Ash says welcome. What up, y'all? Fulfilled, grateful, blessed, exactly focused. What's good, fam? Grand Rising and the chat. Ready. Mondays is tired. Y'all tired? I'm inspired. Says Blackest Night. Said they inspired. Locked in early, focus, amazing. A real one is here. All right. I see y'all. All right, y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? Because we got a lot to cover today. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my dog, Mike That Dude. Shout out to Mike That Dude for holding me down. I appreciate you, big dog. Let me do a little bit of the housekeeping, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. So, first and foremost, make sure y'all get that Tiege Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift, or 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. 40% plus 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack. If you're rocking with any other Tiege pack, go ahead and get rid of it. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. On top of that, make sure y'all tapped into the Patreon. We got Stock Club this week. Stock Club is this week, so we're going to be getting it in. We're going to be talking about that bag. I had an opportunity to stop over at the property. It looks like they've already started priming and then painting. I was doing the numbers. I can't wait to go over the numbers with y'all in Stock Club. That should be pretty interesting. So we making sure that all of the bookkeeping is tight. Tight as a... I ain't even going to get there. That's on the Anton Daniels channel. Also, tonight, Q is on vacation. So she is out of the country. She enjoying life. She having a good time. So we will not be doing a live stream tonight for the Q show. That is going to be back next week. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop some exclusive content for you for my new show. Exclusive content for you. I didn't expect to drop it until Wednesday, but I'm going to go ahead and have to accelerate it in order to maybe give y'all a little bit of a preview, because Q was like, Anton, you want to just go ahead and run the show? I said, no, we're not running no shows without you on Monday night no more. We're not doing that. This is your show, and so this is your baby. You going to go ahead and have to take care of that. Enjoy your vacation. See you next week. You know what I'm saying? So no live stream tonight, but we probably going to have a premiere. And in that premiere, you will see what my new show will look like. So I'm excited to reveal that for you guys. We always working. We don't just take days off. I give my people days off. They go and have fun. But Anton from AntonDaniels.com, I'm working no matter what. Back from Mexico, that was pretty exciting. So looking forward to sharing that experience with you guys at some point in the future. But we got a full show today, and I'm looking forward to absolutely, positively adding value into you guys' lives. All right? So I think that's pretty much it. What else? We got anything else that we need to tackle before we get up out of here, before we start to get into the show? I think that's it. Yeah, I'm familiar with it, Jay Jones. We're going to cover it. We're going to cover all of that, and we're going to get it popping. All right? So, again, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. If you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, if you're not a part of the Patreon, the link is in the description. Don't text me talking about, Anton, what's the address for the meetup? I'm not giving it to you. It's only going to be revealed to the chasers. Anton, what's the tips on stock? I'm not giving it to you. It's only available for the chasers. Anton, how much did it cost you to build the property? I'm not telling you. Anton, how much did you make on YouTube? Anton, how much do you make on your regular job? It's all in the Patreon, all right? If you want receipts, if you want the information, if you want to understand how to interview like a king, if you want to level up in corporate America, if you want to get to your bag, if you want to save on taxes, it's all in the Patreon. Make sure you tap in. Link is in the description. And then make sure you tap into the Discord to make sure you join the community of people, some of them in your city, some may not be in your city, in order to continue to add value into your life. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos, all right? Don't ask me. It's right there. It's going to be in the Patreon, all right? Without further ado, I think it's time for us to get into Quick Hits, because Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't want necessarily to be dedicated to each individual subject, but we want to just go ahead and give you a summary of what you may have missed over the weekend, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it. Quick Hits, y'all. Again, this is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that it deserves an entire segment to it, but we want to add value into your life. First things first, Florida rapper Foolio. Have y'all ever heard of Foolio? I'm not as familiar with his music, but apparently he's a popular rapper, and they wanted me to tell y'all that Foolio was killed over in Tampa over the weekend. Check it out.
A crime scene taking up this whole parking lot behind me. This is a Holiday Inn right across the street from USF. Here, 4 people were shot, and so were 2 cars. Police say they are also now a part of the investigation. A birthday celebration that took a turn for the worst. Now cars filled with bullet holes are at the center of an investigation to find out why famous rapper Foolio, who just turned 26, was shot dead early this morning.
At this point, it's part of the investigation, but it seems that they might have been coming here to the hotel to get a room.
After a social media post from Foolio said he and his friends were kicked out of an Airbnb. They found themselves at this Holiday Inn where hotel guests like Jeremiah Claypool had to be escorted to and from their rooms post gunshots.
I only heard one. It woke me up, but apparently there were more than that.
Police say they got the call at 4:40 this morning. Foolio, whose real name is Charles Jones, was confirmed dead at the scene, while 3 other shooting victims were taken to the hospital. No one has been arrested in connection to this shooting.
You know, we always say it, but in cases like this, it really does make the difference. If you saw something, if you heard something, any little detail can help us figure out what happened here this morning.
For now, investigators will lean on federal agencies and work with hotel surveillance video to help determine how the shooting events took place. Also, interviews from witnesses like Claypool.
We're still going to stay. We're going to find another hotel.
As we continue to find out more information, be sure to download our free WFLA app.
So, sounds like it's just pure ignorance. Doesn't seem like that it was anything that he was doing as far as like moving drugs or getting into a situation. But what he did do, and his biggest mistake, was operating out of ignorance. So what I mean by operating out of ignorance is thinking that because you're only 26, because you're famous, because you're real in the streets. And this is why I be telling people, they be like, man, you can't move around without security. I don't want to, because it only take one fool to get upset because he couldn't get into the party. I'm not about to get caught up with y'all. And this is what age and wisdom wind up putting you in a position to make better decisions on a daily basis. Because when they telling you you're not keeping it real, I'm keeping it real alive, real rich. I'm keeping it real for my family. And so he had his whole life ahead of him. It's unfortunate. And we don't like to see that happen to anybody. So rest in peace to him. I hope his family finds some sort of, not revenge, but I hope they catch whoever did it, all right? In addition to that, did y'all know about this controversial judge that basically was arrested for assault and battery, got her wig snatched off and stuff at a nightclub for assaulting an officer? Check it out.
First time tonight, we're hearing from the Metro Atlanta judge arrested at a DeKalb or a Buckhead nightclub. I'm Alan Devlin.
And I'm Savannah Louie. The Douglas
place,
County Probate Court judge is out of jail, and now she's ready to tell her side of the story. Atlanta News First anchor Tori Cooper is live in
They said, do your homework, Anton. He had real beef. No, I'm not doing my homework on him. I'm not interested in learning about Foolio. Listen, you do your homework. I'm just reporting the news. I'm wishing that his family finds some kind of, is not grieving to her, regardless of the decisions that he made. Now, obviously, he had real beef in these streets, and I know that he had real beef in these streets, but this is the Millionaire Morning Show, and I'm trying to be nice because I don't like to talk negatively about people that are passed away. And so regardless of what you wind up doing, that's for the police to sort out. That's for them to sort out. But I'm not necessarily about to be sitting here talking negatively. Oh, man, he had real beef. Listen. Once a person has passed away, I have a rule, okay? I have a rule within myself. I'm not even going to say within my family or anything. I have a rule within myself. Once somebody has passed away, I don't talk negatively about the dead because they are not here to defend themselves. I don't know all of the facts. I don't know why somebody got killed. He may have had beef in the streets, but that may not necessarily be why he got killed. It may have been a disgruntled person or whatever. He may have been very wild in the streets. But I try to, in a general sense, stay away from the negativity when it comes to somebody passing because I don't. And who knows, maybe I'll make a mistake in the future or something like that. But I am not interested in talking negatively. I just want the streets to be cleaned up. I don't want violence to go on. I don't think anybody's life should be taken unless they took somebody else's life or you're doing it in order to protect yourself. And so I'm not an advocate for hood politics. I'm not interested in hood politics. I don't even want to hang out in the hood. I'm just letting y'all know what's happening over in Tampa. Okay, let's continue.
Douglas County outside the judge's courthouse. Tori, you were the only reporter who spoke with her tonight.
I spoke with Judge Christina Peterson tonight at her home, and she told me that she's still healing from what happened between her and police last night. But before this, Judge Peterson was involved in a different investigation that got her in trouble with a state panel. Last night.
This are y'all electing over there in Georgia, ATL Shouted, Buckhead. This is how y'all rocking out? How do these people even become judges in the first place? Is this another diversity, equity, and inclusion pick? Is this being elected based off of identity politics?
Douglas County probate judge Christina Peterson was arrested outside the Red Martini Lounge in Buckhead. Atlanta police have not publicly released their report into what happened, but jail records show Peterson is now charged with simple battery against a police officer and felony willful obstruction of law enforcement by threats and violence. Some of Judge Peterson's neighbors who did not want to go on camera say this news caught them off guard.
Well, I figured she had to have a reason for something happening.
But other neighbors tell a different story about Judge Peterson's conduct. One of them told me off camera Peterson sued her when she was the president of the Homeowners Association, and she's still going through that litigation now. Court documents show Judge Peterson was investigated for taking action against the HOA.
The head of HOA, she wouldn't release her position, and the only way to get her down was to get signatures.
A $70,000 settlement was eventually reached, but neighbors named as plaintiffs in the suit alongside Judge Peterson allegedly never received their share of the settlement money, but Judge Peterson did. Judge Peterson was also investigated and accused of violating courtroom security protocol and disrupting courtroom operations, among other things. But some of her neighbors still have her back.
She's pretty fair with everything.
You know, black people gonna stick together. The sister code, the black on black, blackity black. You know they're gonna stick together. That's how Fani Willis continue to stay in office.
Now, Judge Peterson plans on holding a press conference tomorrow at 2 p.m. alongside her attorney, but Judge Peterson has limited time left on the bench anyway because she lost her re-election bid in the May primaries. Reporting live in Douglasville.
Well, so much for that bag. So that's what happened to Judge Peterson over there. And then last but not least, shout out to the people. Let me give a round of applause to the third ward residences over in Houston. Apparently, it was the residents who uncovered an $8 million corruption exposed down there in H-Town down. We're going to do the meetup in H-Town next month. Check it out.
Citizens of 3rd Ward are credited with coming forward to help uncover public corruption, totaling more than $8 million.
And it impacted their own neighborhoods. Here's Fox 26's Greg Grugan.
Redevelopment authorities across Houston fall under tax increment redevelopment zones, each tasked with using tax dollars to improve the lives of local residents. But in this case, District Attorney Kim Ogg says the TERS board was just a rubber stamp for the Midtown Redevelopment Authority, making the scheme easy to pull off.
Arrested today are Todd Edwards, the real estate asset manager, Veronica Ugorji, a contractor for the Midtown Redevelopment Authority, and Kenneth Jones, a second contractor for the same authority.
Ogg says instead of spending money on mowing and demolition, those jobs went undone, while each lined their personal pockets, and now each faces first-degree felony charges.
One thing that I don't understand about people that's crooked, right? Let's say, for example, you finesse, because, you know, we live in finesse culture and everybody think that they just entitled to taxpayer dollars and to do what they want to do whenever they want to do it and all of that, right? One thing I don't understand about finesse culture is how come they don't just do the job? Like, they don't just steal or they don't just award themselves contracts. They just don't do the job. They don't do nothing. They just, oh yeah, we got this contract in order, this huge multi-million-dollar contract in order to mow the grass or, you know, take care of this building. Instead of actually doing the job, so the only thing that they can come at you with is whether or not they got to investigate whether or not you got the contract improperly or not, which that probably wouldn't even be a circumstance if you would have actually did the job. They just don't even appear. They just go get the money. They go to Tulum, start throwing money, go to the strip club, buy a bunch of cars, go get a G-Wagon, go get an Escalade. And then they just gonna have why don't they just do the job? That's the part that I don't understand.
Unfortunately, our tax dollars meant to improve the lives of Houstonians were spent on flashy cars, nice houses.
Every time.
Super living.
Every time.
Trips.
And if you're gonna steal, if you're gonna thug it out, don't be flashy. Y'all should have learned it from Frank Lucas, American Gangster. It's the flashiest one in the room when you doing all of this negative crime. Is the weakest one in the room. The one with the big cars. Y'all want to know why rich people wind up, a lot of these rich people wind up, they say that wealth is silent. You want to know why wealth is silent? It's because most of the time it's gotten with ill-gotten gains. That's why wealth is silent, because the people that actually got the money, they not trying to bring no attention to themselves, not because they not flashy, but because they also don't want to be arrested. That's the caveat. When you see people, real wealth is silent. No, people that are doing some of the most egregious crimes against humanity is trying to make sure that they say Vladimir Putin is the richest man on earth. They said that Elon Musk don't even come close to Vladimir Putin. They say Putin is so rich that he like a Saudi, he like a oil baron out there. That's how much wealth he got. They say this dude's man, he might be one of the first trillionaires out here in these streets. Do you know why he's not saying it? It's important for him to continue to maintain a certain image so that he can exert power. You know why Congress people and senators and all of these people that are literally millionaires, they're public servants that somehow became millionaires. You know why they're so quiet? Because they're not trying to draw attention to what they're doing behind the scenes. It's not that wealth is silent. It's that the people that's not trying to get caught is quiet. The only place that I see that happen is the culture. That's it. Now, people that got it out the mud, the people that don't care, the people that paid their taxes, they not tripping. They're going to do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. It's them or it's the people that actually got it legally and ain't worried about nobody. They ain't worried about no audits. They ain't worried about none of that. They books is right and all of that. They going to floss, and the people that do it ignorantly, that did it illegally, but they the weakest in the room, they gonna floss. But the people that ain't really doing what they supposed to do, and they got a bunch of money, but they not trying to draw attention. Who are you? They want to know what the heck you doing. That's the difference. Stealth wealth often at times comes from people that's not trying to draw attention to themselves for whatever reason.
And pornography.
Friday's charges come after years of probing by the people living in Third Ward, who say they begged the authority to clean up overgrown lots that had become magnets for crime.
When years went by with no progress, we, the residents of Third Ward, organized, investigated and uncovered undeniable evidence that there was corruption diverting the tax funds to private accounts.
Mayor Whitmire now encouraging more people to come forward.
The Inspector General's office at the city is a much more user-friendly and open to whistleblowing or outright
That's the mayor of Houston. He said we're going to clean this city up.
declarations of conflicts of interest, and in this instance, allegations of criminal activity.
The message today should be loud and clear to those who would neglect our neighborhood on purpose to benefit themselves. We are paying attention, and we will hold you accountable for your actions.
They not messing around down there. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the show. I appreciate you guys. If you have not, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications, and let's get it popping. We got a lot to cover today. It's a lot of foolery, tomfoolery, pay to play going on today out here in these streets. First and foremost, it was a mass shooting out there in Arkansas, and I want to make sure that I acknowledge the people whose lives have been lost. They say there were some people whose lives lost got taken because they was trying to save other people, and that's not good. So we definitely want to head over to Arkansas. It's not a place that we talk about often, but Arkansas, and this is the monster that's allegedly doing it. Let's get to it, y'all.
This morning, police are trying to understand why a man opened fire at a grocery store in Arkansas, the latest sign of a deadly mass shooting in America.
This morning, a small Arkansas town reeling after a deadly mass shooting at a supermarket.
We are live here at Mad Butcher in Fordyce, and there is a shooting going on.
At least 3 killed and 10 wounded.
Hold on. What kind of sorcery is this? What kind of sorcery is this? To where people hear some shooting and they start going to it instead of running from it. What matter of man is this? What matter of man is this? Who does that? Who runs to the shooting? People just casually pumping their gas. They not tripping about it. The F-150 over there, he ain't even got no license plate. Arkansas. What's going on over in Arkansas? So y'all just go to the shooting? Y'all don't run from the shooting? Okay, I got it. I got to see how y'all doing it over there in Arkansas.
Including 2 police officers, according to authorities. Overnight, officials also identifying the suspect as 44-year-old Eugene Posey, charged with 3 counts of capital murder with additional charges pending.
There's somebody lying in the parking lot, shot.
Witnesses capturing the terrifying moments as the shooting unfolded around 11:30 a.m. Friday morning at the Mad Butcher supermarket in Fordyce, more than an hour south of Little Rock. Police and rescue personnel scrambling to the scene. 2 police officers shot as well as the suspect. None with life threat.
Is that what it is, Tia? That everybody is so thirsty for content on social media that they gonna run to it? I think you might be right. I think that everybody is so desperate and thirsty to get views on social media that they willing to run to the actual shooting, and they willing to put their lives in the line, and they not even getting no money. They so thirsty for content and people ain't even getting no money.
Threatening injuries.
We had 11 civilian shots. 3 of those are deceased, and we do have some that are critical.
Amaya Doherty was in a car outside the store when she heard the gunshots.
I heard like boom, boom, brrr, and then I looked and I thought it was fireworks. Then I seen a man, he had, I think it was an AK, he had rounds and he was just shooting. Like he was shooting, and I locked the door and I got real low.
We're gonna come back to
now,
it. We're gonna come back to
community grieving as police work to understand what motivated this deadly attack.
This is something scary. This is something new, like for all of
Jesus Christ. I know we're supposed to be mourning the people that got hurt over there in Arkansas and Fordyce. Is it Fordyce? I know we're supposed to be mourning the people and stuff like that. But God, what is y'all doing? Lord, take me back to the 1950s where black people actually dressed up for baseball games. They wore full-blown suits to baseball games. They dressed up to go outside of the house. Listen, unless you was doing housework, They were coming out the house and they had themselves together. We are the dingiest, dirtiest looking people that I've ever seen in my life. Jesus Christ. And then y'all jump on camera with a bonnet on, a Levi's t-shirt on, and a bonnet on. Still got them eyelashes though.
So when I come to Mad Butcher to get some lunch,
well, I didn't know it was this hood over in Arkansas.
To get some lunch, not to be worried about our lives.
And Arkansas.
So let me pivot. Let me see what else is happening out in these streets. I need to get it from a different view over there in Arkansas. I need to learn about the mass shooter. This dude looked like a straight up monster. You see this guy at the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side? He looks like a monster. A straight up monster. He looks like a serial killer.
We have an update tonight.
He said people dying and you focus on about. I am. Maybe you new here, sir, but we make sure that we address all things on screen. We are not just going to sit here and say, oh my God. No. Present yourself accordingly. This is your moment. This is your chance to finally get on camera. Take the bonnet off your head, comb your hair, brush your teeth, stop wearing pajamas outside. Perhaps you new here. We get distracted on everything. We look at bonnets. We look at fine court reporters and newscasters. We address everything. Yeah. If your knees is ashy, if your elbows is crinkly, if your neck is not matching your face, we're going to address it over here on the Millionaire Morning Show, buddy. This is a different type of show. Okay? Do better. Do better.
To the breaking news we've been following all day out of Fordyce. Police now naming this man, Travis Posey, as the suspected gunman. More than a dozen were injured, including police, with 3 community members dead. We have team coverage of this shooting. Ashley Godwin is learning new details in what took place today. And Sarah Horbakowitz is hearing witnesses and a family member of one of the victims.
Perhaps he's
Thank you for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Faith Woodard. We want to get right out to that team coverage tonight. We begin with Ashley Godwin. Ashley, you have been on the scene all day and were there as...
Look at this well put together black woman over there in Arkansas. Let me get a round of applause for her. Well put together. Got her Jesus piece on. I like that. I like that. Somebody find her. I need to talk to her for a second.
State police gave a press conference today. What can you tell us about today's tragic events?
Faith, it is a heartbreaking situation to be reporting, and all day we've heard from people talk about their concern and just shocked that something like this could happen here in Fordyce. Now, like you said, Travis Posey, he's 44 years old, has been arrested in connection to this shooting. He's charged with 3 counts of capital murder, and police say additional charges should be expected. He is in custody in jail right now. We still don't know why he decided to come to the grocery store in Fordyce and shoot people. But what we do know is at 11:30 today, Arkansas State Police were called for this shooting at the Mad Butcher at the grocery store, the only grocery store in Fordyce. Now, 13 people total were shot. 3 of those people died. 2 officers were injured. And we had that press conference with Colonel Mike Hager with Arkansas State Police, and he had a lot of sentiments and condolences for the community.
Just on behalf of the state police, the law enforcement community, all public and first responders, it's tragic. Our hearts are broken. Our prayers, along with Governor Sanders, the entire state of Arkansas, will be with this community and with those affected victims. Thank you.
Now, again, it's not known why Mr. Posey decided to come to this grocery store and shoot people today, but we are following this throughout the next few days and even probably further. So we will be trying to answer those questions in the next few days. And the governor said she's putting all resources she can into Fordyce and making sure they have the assistance they need.
I want to go back to the woman that was telling us the story of what really happened. I want to go back to them. She had a very, very vivid description of what was going on as far as this shooting, and then I'm
So I was sitting in my mama's car. They was in Mad Butcher, and I heard like boom, boom, and
Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, she's such a sweet girl. Such a sweet girl. Oh, that is so sweet.
How did you feel during all this?
Well, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. She was hollering. I was trying to tell her, like, hush, be quiet. You don't hear us.
Hush, be quiet, girl.
So I keep her calm. It just happened all of a sudden.
Her story is so different from her sister's story. The sister was like, no, I was praying for people. And the little sister said, no, I was telling you to hush because you was out here screaming. Profiling is important. You see somebody in the summertime in Arkansas going to a grocery store with army fatigues on, I'm going to get a little bit suspicious. Now, woke culture will tell me, no, Anton, don't get suspicious. Just keep acting like nothing is happening. Let him go in there. It doesn't matter if he's got a gun on him. It's an open carry place. You should be able to carry your guns anywhere you want to go. He only got on army fatigues in the summer. It doesn't matter. Maybe he's just trying to lose weight. He has on a jacket, a long trench coat. Just act like it's nothing. He has a bunch of scars on his face. He looks like he's just came out of a horror movie. Just ignore it. No. I think that stereotyping is real. And don't sit here and tell me not to judge. I'm absolutely going to judge. And I don't care if it's somebody from this side of the fence or that side of the tracks. Judge, pay very close attention. Listen. This is the example that I like to use. When you're a child, right? And they keep telling you, don't touch that stove, don't touch that stove. And you just got to see for yourself. You're like, You're using your life experiences in order to make a more informed decision so that you can be safer when you grow up, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to regular everyday life, right? The things that we've experienced when we was younger, paying attention. Man, this is what I seen on the news. That guy, he got a slash on his face. That girl over there, she got tattoos all over her eyeballs. You use your previous experiences to make an informed decision so that you can stay safe. That is your fight or flight response within yourself. God has programmed that in ourselves in order to be able to survive. That's why we're the most resilient creatures on the face of this earth. You know what I'm saying? So judge, if that's what y'all want to label it as, judge, but make it out alive. Make it out alive, all right? So prayer for the people over there in Fordyce in Arkansas. We hope that you guys are safe. We hope that all of the families are doing okay. And lock this dude under the jail. I don't even know how these guys wind up surviving. That's so weird to me. Anyways, let me go ahead and continue on with the show. I want to read a super chat really quickly before we continue on. Shout out to Stephen Slayer One says, Anton is men's mental health awareness month, and nobody gives a ish. This mass shooting is what happens when this country forgets about men. It's sad. I'm going to be honest with you, Stephen Slayer One. I don't give a F about men's mental health awareness month because I don't even know who said that and who designated that as a month. I don't care about any of these none of them, whether it's for men, sassy people, alphabet community, women. I don't care about Mother's Day. I don't care about Father's Day. I don't care about mental health awareness. I don't care about Juneteenth. All of these things, every single one of them, and this is just my unpopular opinion, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. All of these months are just trash to me. Who is the author to say, oh man, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, or this is Pride Month? You know what I think about this month? This is the deadliest month of the year so far. In Chicago, when it get warm outside, it's absolutely deadly. When it started getting hot over there in Oakland, they started having a whole bunch of slideshows and a bunch of cars get stolen. I don't care about none of these. Listen, too many holidays, too many people got a designation day, too many Hallmark holidays so that y'all can continue to spend y'all money. Is more opportunity for y'all to have a bunch of festivals, so we gonna throw some flag up and say, oh, it's this month. Man, I don't care nothing about none of that. All of that is a distraction from the truth. All of this crap is a distraction from what you're supposed to be paying attention to every single day. I don't care about none of these holidays. I don't care about Valentine's Day. I don't care about Sweetest Day. Man, all of that junk is made up to get y'all to spend money. and for women to hold you accountable for things that they say that you're not doing so you can waste your money on stuff that ain't add no value into your life. Keep all of your holidays, keep 4th of July, keep Juneteenth, keep them all. Keep Black History Month, keep Pride, keep Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't care about none of it. None of it. It means nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? The Super Bowl is more important than all of them anyway. So anyways, let me continue on with the show. Thank you, Steven Slayer 1 for the super chat. I don't care nothing about none of this stuff. I hate to say it, but I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Anyways, let's go over to Oakland. So the former chief of staff of this mayor. And it's so funny because I was looking at, when I went and I started doing some research and I started looking at the pictures, because the woman that wound up coming out and exposing her was actually right there next to her when she got elected. So the question that we got to ask ourselves is, snitch or whistleblower? Snitch or whistleblower? Is this woman, see her right there next to her election? That's Shang Tsung right there. And then the lady right next to her is her former chief of staff. So I got some questions, all right? I got some questions before we really start to deep dive into this, because I want to know why this woman is now exposing Mayor Shang Tsung. It's always more to the story than what's being presented. Why is this woman now exposing former mayor, soon to be former mayor Shang Tsung? All right, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Let's turn on your notifications. Let's get it, y'all.
It's been 48 hours since the FBI raided the home of Oakland Mayor Shang Tsung, along with at least 2 other locations, and the mayor is nowhere to be seen.
We still don't know exactly what the FBI was looking for. Yesterday, we heard the mayor's side of the story, sort of. She did hire an attorney, former prosecutor Tony Brass. He suggested that there is no evidence that Tsung is actually the target of the FBI investigation, and that she had no idea it was even happening.
It was my assumption that she would have been asked for information or documents or devices if they were needed, and that she must have refused that if they got a search warrant. So I'm quite surprised that the search warrant was the...
Wait a minute. Why is it so dirty in the background? Oakland, what y'all doing? Is this the... What is that? Are those... Why is it so nasty? Why is every place that you go inside of Oakland, even the office buildings and the federal buildings and stuff, it looks like a bunch of homeless people was just there and they took a bunch of dumps on the ground. I'm sorry, listen, my third sense is difficult for me to ignore the details in the background. I look at people's hair, I look at their teeth, I look at the carpet, I look to see what's going on, why it looks like they over there in the 1950s. I'm gonna read those super chats shortly. Why is it so bad out here? What is wrong with this place?
The first she'd heard of this investigation. The optics are bad, but the fact is that she is going to cooperate with the investigation, and she would have done that in the first place.
Brass also said Mayor Tsung is working from a remote location because of the media circus around the raids, and that she will release a statement sometime next week.
She's working remote.
A former chief of staff.
She's the mayor of Oakland, and she working remote.
Tsung believes she should resign following the raid at her home. Agents interviewed her about a year ago, while the FBI hasn't linked Mayor Tsung to any kind of...
And she got on the same outfit. No? Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me get some understanding in it. Is that the same dress? Or does she just like the color blue? She just put a jacket over it. Yep. That's the belt. That's the pleat. And she wearing the same hookup. She just don't have a nose ring on that one. Is that the same girl? She look like she aged a bit. Let's see. We'll get there. We're going to figure it out.
Wrongdoing. The former confidant of the mayor spoke out. Dahlin joins us now in studio with more on this developing story. Da?
That's right. I first met this former chief of staff, Miss Rania Webb, back in November 2022 during a Shang Tsung campaign event. A few months later, she contacted me saying that, hey, I resigned from the Tsung office because of concerns over pay-to-play allegations.
Woo! She brought this up a long time ago. Y'all act like y'all wanted to ignore it.
And I asked her for evidence at the time. It was just her words. Fast forward to this Thursday, the FBI raid. We decided to talk to her again. This is Ms. Webb's side of the story.
And then they said I met her at her birthday party that she had up in Montclair.
Rania Webb worked closely with and had access to Shane Tao that few people had for a year and 4 months. Webb served as Tao's right-hand person, working as chief of staff when Tao was the District 4 council member. Webb says she volunteered and spent countless hours on Tao's mayoral campaign in 2022. She says she also led Tao's transition team after Tao won the election.
A lot of what's coming out now is the reason I resigned shortly thereafter winning the election.
She was more sad than surprised about FBI agents raiding Tao's home on Thursday.
I wasn't surprised. I was like, finally the truth is coming out.
Webb accuses Tao's boyfriend, Andre Jones, of being the mastermind.
Ooh, so wait. Dre Day. Boom, 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 boom. Guess who's back? So you got you a black boyfriend. Ooh, and he the mastermind. Okay. So now we going up the chain of command. All right, listen, every day that we report on this, we get a little bit deeper. See, y'all thought it was just, Tiffany Henyard, she was small beans. She don't have a man that's working behind the scenes in order to make sure that the bag is secure. Shang Tsung, got her a man, and his name is Dre. Guess who's back? It's the DRE. It ain't nothing but Mohash. Another classic CD for y'all to rock with, whether you're cooling on the corner. Shout out to Shang Tsung. I ain't know that you thought what black was better. Woo! She said that he the man. Listen, it only take one person to expose the truth. It's always somebody disgruntled. They don't like what you was doing, or maybe they didn't get paid enough, or maybe they wasn't acknowledged. Maybe you didn't acknowledge their contribution, and then they turn into a freezy. That's why you got to keep your business to yourself. Listen, be careful who you surround yourself with. Y'all caught that one? It's always a mole. They get a little too close to you, and then they don't feel like they was acknowledged, or you didn't return a text message, or you didn't acknowledge their contribution to the platform, and then they turn into a freezy. We're going to call these type of people freezies, all right? Anyways, let's continue.
And running pay-to-play schemes during Tao's campaign for mayor and after she won.
I had found out that Andre, her boyfriend, was promising people jobs in our administration, promising people appointments on different commissions and boards from out of the mouths of people that told me they were promised positions, they were promised board positions, and at the mouth of what they would always, Andre, that was who they would say, Andre promised me this.
Webb claims Jones was controlling and calling the shots. She says Tao went along with him.
He definitely.
It's sad. He's making her do things, pushing her to do things that I don't believe she would do otherwise. I just really don't.
He definitely running
Webb
that.
says Jones and Tao met when they worked for council member Rebecca Kaplan. Jones was Kaplan's chief of staff, and Tao was an intern.
When I first mentioned to Shang at the house that got raided yesterday, that people were coming to me of, what Andre had promised them. And her response to me was, just ignore Andre. You're going to be making close to $200,000.
Now, in my situation, I never promised anybody any money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a little bit above board. I got to keep the snake side of my grass. But anyways, when you get into a position of power, she said, listen, baby. Listen, baby, we know Oakland is falling apart. Oakland is falling apart. Businesses is leaving. In-N-Out is leaving, and they profitable. They doing street takeovers. Homelessness is running rampant out here in these streets. But guess what? Baby girl, I know you heard Dre over there. Dre was just beating my back out overnight. It's cool. He got this. You need to worry about that $200,000 that you're going to be over there making. You know what I'm saying? You got to worry about that $200,000. She said, listen, baby girl, you gonna be making 200,000. You gonna be making 200,000. Wow. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Just ignore it. And it just hurt my heart. Like, I just looked at her and I told her, I don't care about the money.
That's how they had to get her up out of there. That's what got her. Listen. When you get people that can't be bought, got to get them up out of there. When somebody is saying, when they say to your face, oh, I don't care about the money, you're hurting my heart by doing things negatively. She should actually have been the one that was the mayor. When you got people that stand up and they say, listen, you're hurting my heart. I don't have 200,000 reasons. You can't buy me with money. They got to get him up out of there. Hey, Dre, little Miss Sunshine over there with the blue dress, she said that she can't be bought. She said that she don't like $200,000. What you think about that? Dre said, guess who's back?
After Tao won the election in November, Webb says she resigned on New Year's Eve 2022. She says in early 2023, she complained to the city council and the Public Ethics Commission about the pay-to-play allegation.
She the one at the raid. She the reason that the raid came through. She the reason that the Duong family, listen, if you want to know who messed up all of the money over there in Oakland from all of these crooked politicians getting to the bag, is her. And let me give her a round of applause. Let me give Blue Dress a round of applause, because we need more people like this in our society. Snitch, tell. When you got these public servants out here doing the worst thing for society, get them up out of there. Don't think that just because she Asian and her last name is Shang Tao, Shang Shang, or anything like that, or the Duong family is over there and they over there finessing, talking about they started their company by picking up trash off the street and then all of a sudden they showed up with a recycling company. I don't believe it, not even a little bit. Nope, you're not gonna convince me. Not even this much. Not even this much. All right? And so it took one little black lady, one little fairy, a canary in a coal mine, to finally bring down the Duong family and Shang Tsung. While she was, y'all kept wondering, why won't this woman retire? Why won't she resign? Why is she so dedicated? Because they was getting to the bag. They was using taxpayer money to get to the bag. She has now moved up on the list as the worst mayor in America. Shout out to Little Miss Sunshine.
She says the council ignored her complaint. The Ethics Commission sent a follow-up email requesting evidence, but Webb could not produce physical evidence, so that complaint went nowhere. Webb says Tao at the time denied all the accusations, telling others Webb was disgruntled, had mental health issues, and made up lies.
What sense would it make that I would help her win the election, run her transition team, and then all of a sudden I just lose my mind?
The FBI contacted Webb and interviewed her for 2.5 hours on February 3rd, 2023. Yep. She says agents asked a lot of questions about Tao's campaign funding.
It was about campaign contributions, about some of the appointments, like to the port.
Webb says the FBI agents did not offer specifics about their investigation at the time, and she doesn't know if the FBI raid is related to the pay-to-play allegation.
It is.
The FBI remains tight-lipped about the raid at Tao's home. While the FBI has not accused Tao or Jones of any wrongdoing, Webb believes Tao should resign.
I texted her and told her I'm praying for her, but we still have to deal with the consequences of our behaviors.
Absolutely.
And I just hope she gets the help that she needs.
I asked Tao's attorney, Tony Brass, about the pay-to-play allegation. He did not respond to my email. We tried to get Andre Jones' side of the story as well. He has so far declined to talk to the media.
Now, here's my ask. Here's my plea, okay? This is my plea to the people before we move over into the next story, because we got a lot to cover. We got to move through these next stories a little bit more efficiently than we move through this one. This is my plea. It's popular. Let me get a full screen on this one. It's popular to go after Tiffany Henyard. We spent a lot of time going after Tiffany Henyard. Let me say that again. People showed up in her city. They were going after Dalton. They was at the Thornton Township meetings. They still out there. And Tiffany Henyard is still public enemy number one for a lot of these vloggers. I want y'all to keep that same energy for Shane Tao. Go find her. See where she working remotely. Give the same energy to Shane Tao over there in Oakland as you got over here for Tiffany Henyard. Now, I'm an advocate for holding people accountable for when they wrong. But don't pick and choose how much energy y'all want to go give. I'm advocating for all of you vloggers, all of y'all people that had all of this smoke for Tiffany Henyard. And you over here making vlog after vlog after vlog. Listen, I'm going to just keep it real. I got to keep it real. Y'all doing all of the hard work and the heavy lifting when it comes to holding people accountable. Have that same energy for the person that is then over there in Oakland literally destroying and can be proven to be having pay for play with her boyfriend running the conglomerate, and the Duong family go over there and do that same type of work. Let's just keep the same energy across the board. That's all I'm saying. Let's not pick and choose and then have identity politics because it's popular to go after Lil Louisiana over there in Dalton. Shang Tsung is running a much, much bigger city over there on the West Coast. And so I think that y'all should keep that same energy for her too. I don't think we should pick and I think we need to have just as much, because when we find politicians that's not doing the things that's in the best interest of the people, that's using public tax dollars, put that same amount of effort and that same amount of energy over there in Oakland. I am. Every single day, I am not letting up on this story. As much more information comes out, I will be covering it on my platform. As more information comes out, I'm going to be covering it on my platform. It don't matter if it's the popular thing to do. It don't matter if it's not the hottest story at the moment. I don't care. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And so we have to leverage our platforms in order to bring visibility to the people that are being harmed the most. And that's the ones that's the most vulnerable. Those are the taxpayers. Those are the citizens. That's all I'm saying. Same energy across the board. No discrimination. No discrimination. That's all I'm saying. That's all I want to say. Let me read a couple of super chats. Let's read the super chats and we're going to get to the next part of the show. Shout out to A.R. Smitty says, these hoes ain't loyal. Shout out to my dog A.R. Smitty in the building. Debs23 says, please shout out to my dog Coach. Coach, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kojak. Happy birthday to you. Shout out to Kojak, my dog. Let me tell you something. I've known Kojak since we were in high school, since 9th grade, since I was 14, 15 years old. Shout out to Kojak. Happy birthday to you, big dog, my Detroit brethren. One of the best architects, Lawrence Tech graduate. Phenomenal brother. Phenomenal brother. We love you, Kojak. Happy birthday to you, big dog. Thank you. Thank you for always loving on us and supporting us and being a part of what it is that we do over here. Sly White says, LA hosting the 28 Olympics is why the unhoused is being addressed. Oh, we are co-hosting softball and a few water sports here in OKC. Like you said, it always comes back to the money. AD for governor to the... thank you, my friend. Thank you for the insight. I will be digging more into that. Devanin Salik says to the real, good morning, America. This is the real good morning, America over here in these streets. Also, so if you ain't up on things, shout out to my dog, Mr. Lotta. I appreciate you for supporting the platform also. All right, y'all. Let's continue over with the show. We got to start moving a little bit quicker. Thank you to everybody that support the platform. I love and appreciate you. let's get to it. So let's talk about California. Let's talk about California, all right? I really, really, really do want to bring visibility to what's happening in these streets. Let's just spend 10 minutes real quick to speak on California because businesses are closing, but they have a solution. They are starting to come up with what they think a solution is for the real issues and a tax base eroding and it becoming a death loop over there in different cities over there in California. And I want to tell you my opinion of whether or not I think it's a good idea or it's a bad idea. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Also, tab into the Patreon, link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right? Oh, it's Emperor's birthday. My bad. Shout out to Emperor. My bad. We call Kojak Emperor Kojak too, but shout out to Emperor. Happy birthday to you. Let's get it popping, y'all.
Thank you very much. McDonald's is closing its location at Stonestown Mall in San Francisco. It had been there for more than 3 decades. KRON 4's Sarah Stinson says some customers say they're very disappointed.
McDonald's at Stonestown Mall will be closing its doors for good Sunday after more than 30 years. A sign posted on the door notified customers about the closure.
Hey, why is it that the first thing that people do when they see something close or it's everything that's bad about it, why is the first thing that people do is they take a picture? What are y'all taking a picture of? Where are you gonna put the picture? I'm just confused. Why is it that the first thing that people do when they see something like a restaurant is closing or something like that is they go out and they take a picture of it? Where are you gonna post the picture at? Where are you gonna post it? What? Everything does not require a camera. Everything does not require social media, bro. Everything does not require social media. I'm just saying.
I thought it was fake. I didn't believe it.
I'm sad about this location is going to be closing down.
Loyal customers shared stories about eating here over the years.
I was a student at San Francisco State University just across, so I've been coming here since around maybe 2002, 2003.
I'm really disappointed to hear that. More so for my mom than for me because she dearly loves McNuggets, and this is one of the few places close enough for me to bring her.
The fast food restaurant off of 19th Avenue was packed with people in the final hours of operation. Many saying the mall just won't be the same without it.
It's drastically changed over the years, but this is one of the more heartbreaking changes that I think they're making.
Because this is one of the places we can hanging out together. So now we don't know where we can go.
The franchisee owner, Scott Roderick, tells KRON 4 the decision to close the restaurant was a difficult one for his family. Roderick says there are 2 main factors that led to the closure. One, he says, the landlord was unwilling to negotiate a sensible long-term rent. Second, Roderick says the cost of operating a business is accelerating at historic levels.
So what this anchor tenant did was he went to the landlord. Listen, it's all going to be a trickle-down effect. And this is what I keep telling everybody, why you got to look at this from a business. Do you know why I don't raise the rent on my tenants? It's because I'd rather have a long-term tenant that they can benefit as far as making sure that they reduce their costs, which would also incentivize them to take care of the property. And then at the same time, they're able to raise their family in a conducive environment, which would then foster me more profits long term. Now, I could try to maximize the profit out of them and squeeze them and continue to raise the rents up and stuff like that. But I don't, because as long as I can cover my property taxes, as long as I'm turning a healthy profit every year because I don't have any mortgages, why wouldn't I work with my tenants? As a matter of fact, I'm going to be proactive in preventing them from having to pay more to me just because I can maximize the profit, but then I would become a greedy landlord. And greed can be good, but you can leverage that greed in other ways in order to build more properties instead of continuing to leverage the people and squeezing them. I don't raise the prices in the Patreon. I don't raise the rents on my properties. I don't even raise the coaching calls. My coaching calls have been the same prices since I've started coaching in a general sense. And so what happens when you start to find this type of situation is that the business owners can't absorb the costs. meaning that they can raise the prices, pass it on to the consumers, then they have to start cutting costs in other ways. Either they got to start embracing technology, or they have to do or they have to go to the landlord and say, hey, listen, we need to renegotiate this lease. We need to lower the cost because I got to pay way more in food costs. I got to pay way more in minimum wage because my minimum wage, the amount of money that I'm paying people, has exploded 50 to 75%. And I can't cover this. I can't sell enough burgers and fries and drinks in order to be able to cover and make this profitable. And so either I'm going to have to close or I'm going to have to ask you to take a concession. The person that owned the plaza said, well, we can't take no haircuts because we are absolutely slammed over here because we got to pay more of these California taxes and our interest rates are higher because the Fed has raised rates. And so what you're basically doing is you're creating a doom loop. The doom loop is that it's a trickle down. You know how they say trickle down as far as trickle down economics? Well, that happens when things are under duress also. And so when you have these legislators that don't work well with businesses to better understand the business climate in order to create a conducive environment for both the workers, the taxpayers, and the state itself, everybody loses. The state is going to lose money in its coffers. People are going to start fleeing from the city. Businesses are going to start closing. Landlords aren't going to be able to pay the rent. Interest rates are going to be high. And so it creates this circle effect to where, hey, man, don't be the last one left and turning the lights out over there in California. Don't be the last one left to turn the lights off in California. The ones that are going to lose are the ones that's going to be the last ones out.
He says it became extra challenging to stay open after the state's $20 minimum wage mandate went into effect on April 1st for fast food restaurants. Roderick says all of his employees have been offered jobs to work at nearby McDonald's. There's another location about a mile away, as well as other fast food chains at the food court inside the mall. But longtime customers say this closure hurts their routine and wallet.
One of the last places where I could get a hamburger for $1.99 in the 2024 economy. So
I'm Sarah Stinson.
Yeah, you can forget that. Meanwhile, a lot of different businesses, it's not just McDonald's, but businesses all across the entire state are basically going out of business.
Downtown Sacramento seeing more doors closing as others open. Owners say with prices skyrocketing, it's keeping customers away and putting people out of business. Thanks for joining us here at 5:30. I'm Hunter Sowers.
And I'm Tony Lopez. Let's get to it. Your reporter covering Sacramento County, Tori Apodaca, getting answers on the state of downtown Sacramento businesses. Tori.
Like her hood.
Hey, you guys, it's definitely no secret that concerts at the Golden One Center and, of course, basketball games bring a lot of business to this downtown area. But whether it be chains like Starbucks just across the street from us or Solomon's Diner just a few doors down on K Street.
Let me say this. I did announce this in the beginning. I see Slimmy saying the Q show later. Listen, Q is on vacation, so we're not going to live stream tonight. I'm going to try to get a show ready for y'all, premiered for y'all that I was going to have on Wednesday, but I'm going to try to get that ready for y'all tonight. Q is on vacation. We're going to go back to live streaming on Monday nights. Plus, to give y'all some time to miss her because I don't know if y'all really appreciate her. Again, the Q show is not going to live stream tonight. She's on vacation, out of the country, enjoying herself, so we want to give her that time. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to get a replacement show in for y'all to premiere and move it from Wednesday up to Monday, move it up a day in order to be able to add value into your life, all right? So just giving y'all a little bit of insight. Shout out to Slimmy.
Becoming a lot more difficult for some businesses to stay open.
Thank you. There's a steady lunch rush inside Kadaiko Ramen and Bar on K Street. But co-owner Takumi Abe says with the price of everything going up, businesses are choosing between passing the cost along to customers or close down.
It's really tough. I feel really fortunate that we're still here.
Just a few feet away, Solomon's Vinyl Diner, established as a tribute to Tower Records, abruptly shut its doors this week after just hosting a disco brunch for Father's Day in Peytonsip days before.
It looks like it's always busy all the time. That's why I haven't had a chance to check it out.
Solomon's co-owner, Jamie Goldstein, cites the pandemic, loss of foot traffic, and labor and food costs rising as the reason for what she hopes is just a temporary closure. And chains are also closing, like 3 Sacramento Starbucks locations, including the one in Doco and the Hyatt. Deputy Director of Downtown.
I know a lot of y'all saying, "Oh, it's healthier to cook at home." That's not the whole point. The point is that when you don't have money circulating in your community and businesses start closing, regardless of whether or not you actually agree with the business or not, when businesses start closing, it creates a worse environment for the residents because everything eventually is going to affect you too. It affects police budgets, it affects home prices, it affects property taxes, it affects homelessness, it affects social services. Everything is going to be impacted when you start to see small business. Small businesses is the core. It's literally the backbone of America. And when you see small business, you can't get enough big box stores to replace what's happening with small businesses. And when I say small businesses, a lot of y'all will say, "Oh, well, McDonald's isn't a small business." Yes, it is. McDonald's largely have franchisees that run small businesses that then basically, is a part of the fabric and the core of what's happening in the community. So yes, I agree with you. It is healthier to do it at home, but at the same time, you don't want to artificially kill businesses with bad legislation. Let them be able to survive and thrive on their own. If the business is not good or y'all don't agree with what it is that you're eating, then let that be the reason, because then what will happen is it'll make an environment where it's easier for something else to come up in there that will replace it, that's better for your taste palette or better for your health or whatever. Like the environment that is conducive to small business has to thrive, because otherwise nothing will replace it. You see what I'm saying? So it's not about whether or not the small business is there or not, it's the why. Because if there's nothing to replace it because it's bad legislative policy that prevents small business from thriving in general, regardless of what type of business it is, you as a resident, as a consumer, you are the ones that are going to suffer within your communities.
Sacramento Partnership Scott Ford says over the past 12 months, they have seen over 31 million visits to the central city. That's about 80% of what it was pre-pandemic.
Losing, foot traffic here and everything, so it's it makes it look kind of like a ghost town-ish.
So what's going to get people to come downtown?
We're going to need a mix of uses.
Ford says even though we see some doors closing, other unique business ideas are opening.
This is a neighborhood that we are creating together.
Got to change his legislative policies. Nothing is going to thrive.
Back out here live, of course, the lights out on Solomon's Diner. According to realtycompany.com, this building is actually listed for sale. I asked the owner about this today, and she could not confirm if that is true, saying that she hopes that this place here gets a second life. Of course, though, that's not the case for a lot of other businesses down here that have closed for good.
I'm telling you, listen, even the people that own the buildings is like, listen, I'm getting up out of here. This is not even a thing. So San Francisco has come up with an idea. And so let's explore what San Francisco is doing.
It may say for lease, but this retail shop in the heart of downtown San Francisco is taken. The boxes on the floor and glass peeking through are signs that the nonprofit Public Glass is setting up shop.
To be in downtown San Francisco is really about visibility for us.
Their main location is in San Francisco's Bayview neighborhood, but now they're expanding as part of the city's Vacant to Vibrant program.
It would be impossible without it, right? So, like many organizations and institutions, we contend with the rents in San Francisco.
Listen, they have this Vacant to Vibrant program that they're basically trying to fill up businesses with, or fill up storefronts and empty spaces down in downtown San Francisco. And they're trying to use that and leverage that. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to say, listen, we're going to give you 3 months free if you come in and you be able to start a business and open up a business here in downtown San Francisco. Well, it's not going to be viable, because after 3 months and then the rent kick in, it's still going to be the same thing. You still have bad legislative practices. You still have crime everywhere. You still have homelessness. You haven't solved for the core reasons why businesses are closing in the first place. It don't matter if you give them 6 months rent, a year's month's rent. Once they start paying, they won't be able to sustain the business. So the Vacant to Vibrant is really a bad idea. It only listen, the free months only works when you have something that they'll be able to sustain for a longer period of time. We still haven't addressed the biggest issues that's happening in society, especially over in California. And as long as you have these idiots running things, then it's always going to be bad. So It's all bad. It's no point even looking at this. So anyways, that's what's happening over in California, ladies and gentlemen. And let's pivot for a second. So I know we're still talking about California. I want to stay there for a minute because this is an example, okay? This is an example of what I mean by an environment that's not conducive for people to live and thrive in. You're not solving for the core problems and the core reasons why people are leaving and why businesses are leaving and why things are going bad in the first place. Sideshows, right? I never looked at them as sideshows. It's something that they're marketing as sideshows. I call it drag racing, tearing up the streets, destroying public property, taxpayer dollars. I call it a lot of things. We never called it sideshows. We call it a lot of things, but we never called it sideshows. But I largely think that they just having like a PR thing, similarly to how they're doing it over in Chicago, where he's saying, hey, this is not a mob. This is a large gathering. Notice how they don't say flash mobs no more. They say that they're large gatherings of young people that are that have nothing to do at home at the moment. Everything has become a PR stunt. This is what happened just the other night over there on the Bay Bridge. Hey, imagine you go to cross the Bay Bridge. You're going to go and see you a baddie tonight. Or maybe you getting off of work because you had the late night shift. And you get stopped in traffic and your whole night is ruined. And whatever it was that you were supposed to be doing, you can no longer do it because they made a plan to stop and close off the entire bridge, shoot off fireworks, and do burnouts and run their cars on the Bay Bridge on something that was built with your taxpayer dollars. And everybody got their phones out. Jesus Christ. This is why they shut your bridge down, y'all. Look at the idiots in the back. And you know it'll only take one accident, right?
Take a look at this new this morning. Shocking video shows a series of sideshows that broke out overnight in Oakland and San Francisco. This video was taken at Grand and Lake Park Avenue, just off the off-ramp of 580 in Oakland. Crowds also formed at 5th and Adeline Streets and 98th Avenue and Empire Road. This is where this was all happening. This was here in San Francisco between Embarcadero and Washington Street in front of Pier 1, it appears.
Where are we at? Yo, I seen more civilized. Let me say this. My driver, as he was driving us back to the airport from the resort yesterday, what was it, Playa del Carmen or something like that, over there in Mexico, over near Cancun. My driver, he said, Anton. Well, he didn't say Anton. He said, yeah, we really appreciate you. And he said, I said, oh, yeah. He said, yeah, I was kind of sleepy, but I was listening to what he was saying. He said, we really appreciate you. I said, why are the people so nice here? He said, because tourism is over 80% of our income. He said, whatever it is that we got problems with, we going to solve it ourselves. We going to fix it because over 80% of the jobs is based off of tourism. He said, so we want you to come back. We going to treat you like kings and queens. And they absolutely did. They 100% did. They treated us like gold. They loved us. They appreciated every tip that we gave them. They were so thankful. They was overly helpful and overly assistant, whatever it is that we requested. Everything was just so beautiful and so awesome. And they loved on us. And the reason that they loved on us, and the people took the initiative to take care of what was going on. And he was telling me a story about how some guy had been speeding, and so the community had came together in order to stop him from speeding and stuff like that. And it's largely because they understand that when things go wrong or when things go bad, it hurts their own pockets. It hurts their own pockets. Like there's certain, Mika just said it. The cartels know it too. That's why they don't mess with it. It's money that's coming into the city, and it's one of the reasons why they are so accommodating and they so helpful, because they don't want, listen, they about that bag. They bag chasers over there. They about that bag. They're not messing up no money for you. Now they got their own little problems that they handled on the side, but that ain't got nothing. They gonna keep that out of the view of the people that come there. But we don't care over here. And it's because we have no real responsibility, no real pride, no real accountability. We don't really care about any of this stuff. It don't matter if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, all of that. They all out there participating, bro.
Numerous illegal fireworks were set off, and one car even caught fire, as you saw a moment ago.
On the bridge.
At this time, police are still investigating both incidents. We will continue to update you.
And then this is the sentiment of why Los Angeles, or the people over there in California, why law enforcement saying that they can't even stop it.
First, everyone wants them gone. The crowd, squealed tires, and danger at an all-time high. The difficulty in stopping street takeovers. The News at 5 starts now.
This is NBC4 News at 5.
We begin with those takeovers. Our I-team has been looking into how the number of reports of street takeovers and street racing has continued to skyrocket around the LA area. Good evening, everyone. I'm Annabelle Sedano.
And I'm Michael Brownlee in for Colin here tonight. Well, despite increased attention from city leaders and focused efforts from police, nothing seems to be slowing them down. Investigative reporter Eric Leonard does live with an update on why it's been so difficult to get a handle on this problem. Eric.
Well, hi, Michael and Annabelle. We saw that video from the takeover a week ago in South LA that authorities said led to a mob-style break-in at an auto parts store. So we wanted to find out what's been happening. Now, in the city of LA, there are task forces specifically focused on street racing and these so-called sideshows. But officials tell us laws right now aren't tough enough, so there's little to deter people from taking part. Police tell the I-team.
Blaze Skywalker, I'm gonna read that super chat shortly. I covered that in the beginning of the show. Y'all got to get here on time. Y'all got to get to the show on time, baby.
Many in the crowd that raided this AutoZone store at Century and Hoover had been part of the street takeover or sideshow at the intersection nearby at Century and Hoover. And data gathered by the LAPD's two street racing task forces shows the number of races and takeovers has continued to climb in the first part of 2024.
It's just been kind of frustrating dealing with all the street takeovers. It started back in 2021 and just been dealing with it ever since then, and they've gotten worse.
Michael Kirschman Jr. says it seems like there's been at least one every week near his house near Century and Hoover, where the AutoZone was targeted a week ago. And he says it feels like calls to authorities haven't done much.
First of all, they say just call the non-emergency number, which you do, and you're on.
Listen, Sassy, man, it ain't no stopping what's happening in California. It's going to be its own country. It's even been predicted in the movies.
On there for 20 to 30 minutes waiting for a dispatch officer to get on, and then you tell them what's happening, and usually they tell you that several other people have called in already, and then you wait like another 30 minutes before you hear police sirens showing up.
As the I-Team reported at this time last year, the number of takeovers has increased in Central and South LA, and officials have said few of the strategies used to try to stop them are working. Bumps glued to the street or other physical barriers installed at an intersection, the report said, rarely stop the takeover. One specific type of barrier installed in Sylmar appeared to work, but rather than stop takeovers, it just drove the cars and crowds to other streets nearby. Authorities say the bigger issue is still the law. Even when officers show up and catch people in the act, there are few significant penalties. And according to some new data, the number of reckless driving and speeding tickets issued at these events went up significantly in early.
Don't nobody care about no reckless driving. You need to put these people in jail, family. Nobody cares about a speeding ticket anymore. We eat those. We eat speeding tickets. We don't even trip off of none of that junk. Caring about no speeding ticket, bro.
Early 2024, and yet the number of reported street races also increased by nearly 50%, and the number of reported takeovers crept up by about 2%.
It's hard enough in South LA. I think that if all of a sudden small businesses are constantly getting hit, people are not going to want to set up small businesses down here. I mean, these are neighborhoods that people have lived in for a long time, and I think South LA deserves
turn
better.
the lights off.
Now, one man was arrested after allegedly leading police on a chase after that AutoZone raid last week. He was charged with several felonies, including organized retail grand theft, but police tell us that's kind of unusual. Most people caught face misdemeanors, and at most, there aren't enhancements that increase penalties for taking part in a street takeover.
They don't have any consequences, and this is why people feel compelled to continue to do whatever it is that they're going to do. Ain't no consequences that come along with it. Why would they be concerned? Why would they be concerned about it when nobody is going to be doing anything about it anyway? Ain't no penalties. Listen, you're going to get a misdemeanor. You're going to get a misdemeanor. Worst case scenario, you get a misdemeanor. Best case scenario, you walk away scot-free and ain't nobody going to do nothing. Anyway, what difference do it make? Nobody cares. Y'all have lost control of your children. Y'all lost control of y'all communities. Ain't nobody tripping about it no more. Ain't nobody complaining. Everybody is just going to do what they want to do. And if y'all say anything to anybody, they're going to say that you're bullying. So it really doesn't make any difference anymore. So let's just go ahead and leave California to the wolves. And then we're going to go from there. And let me address this super chat really quickly. Blaze Skywalker says, what up, though? AD, what up, big dog? Keep up the good work. Hoping you would address the city girl judge who went to jail at the club. Sent you the email. Yeah, I addressed it earlier in the show. In the beginning of the show, I appreciate you for supporting the platform, my dog. All right, y'all, let's continue over with the show. Shout out to Blaze Skywalker. Shout out to everybody that contributes into the platform. I do want to say I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. It's over 1,700 people watching at the moment, and we're going to continue to do what we do. All right. Couple more things. They say the New York governor's poll numbers is at a record low. I believe that Kathy Hochul, the hole over there in New York, I believe that she is largely skated under the radar. That's my personal opinion. I believe that y'all have let her slide, and we've spent a lot of time focusing on Eric Adams, but we have not spent any time focusing on the governors. And so this second half of the year, because I know that we are in June going into July, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon, link is in the description. We are in June and we're going over into July. And we've largely focused on incompetent mayors. I mean, you got Shang Tsung over there in Oakland. You got Tiffany Henyard over there in Dalton. We got Brandon Johnson, Mike Johnson, Karen Bass. I've learned so much about mayors across America over the past 2 to 3 years. It's insane. I know mayors. Name a mayor in a major city, I can tell you where they're from. Karen Bass, Los Angeles. Brandon Johnson, Chicago. Mike Johnson, Denver. Eric Adams, New York. I mean, we could just rattling off name of mayors immediately because we've spent so much time on mayors. But one thing that we haven't spent a lot of time on is governors. And I think that governors should be held even more accountable. And I've been telling you for years, I said, listen, I know that you're concerned about Biden and Trump and the national election, but the more important thing that impacts you on a regular basis is actually what's happening in a local election. And that's the election that y'all choose to participate in the least. It's the reason why you have Shang Tsung and Tiffany Henyard and Mike, well, maybe not Mike Johnson. He just got there, so we're going to pay attention. But Brandon Johnson over in Chicago, he told y'all what he was going to do before he did it. Everything that y'all getting over in Chicago is exactly what he told y'all that he was going to do. But we haven't been focusing on the J.B. Pritzkers, the Kathy Hochul's, right? We focused a little bit on, Greg Abbott, DeSantis. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Governor Greg out here in the building. We appreciate you. But we have not started to focus on the governors. So what I want to do personally is start to highlight and talk about what is happening not only on a city level, not only on a national level, but also on a state level. We have layers in government that is supposed to prevent these problems from happening at a large scale. You know, you fail at the city level, you automatically roll it up into the state level. You fail at the state level, you automatically roll it up to the federal level. But we become so disillusioned and we become so broken as a nation, starting with our smallest of cities, over into the large cities, over into the states, and now you basically having a failing country. And we see it happening over in California, San Francisco to California, Sacramento to California, right? Oakland. Take your pick. It largely starts to affect the state as a whole. But let me bring you over to New York and give you an example of what we see. Now, in this instance, for example, we can say, well, bodega workers or bodega owners, and I just did this whole story last week about how they've been protesting and advocating for more safety because it's bad out here in these streets. It's horrible out here in these streets. And no sooner than we did that live stream, this came right across my desk right after that, probably one of the very owners that were advocating against the violence and advocating for more safety measures to go on in New York. This happened.
Police say the victim was stabbed multiple times in the chest. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The bodega workers union say that this happened after he refused to give credit to a stranger.
All right, Fox 5's Richard G. Kovas live in the Marsenia section.
Let me just say something. I try to ignore it. I try not to pay attention to it, but whoever this woman is in the green is insane. Shout out to New York. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to focus, but ladies, you know who I am. Ain't nothing like a good lady to incentivize you to continue to do a good job when you sit next. I see why he's such a good newscaster, because he got that good energy, that feminine energy that's sitting next to him every day.
He refused to give credit to a stranger.
All right, Fox 5's Richard G. Kovas live in the Marsenia section of the Bronx where it all unfolded. Richard.
Steve, Natasha, Maged Al-Saidi closed up his shop and walked to his car like he does every night when he's going home, except last night that man that he had a scuffle with inside his bodega a few hours earlier was waiting for him. He was waiting for him with a knife, and he allegedly stabbed the 44-year-old father over and over again. Tonight, he's clinging to life. It was around dinner time last night at the 69 Deli at East 169th and College Avenue in the Bronx's Marsenia section when a man walks in and demands bodega owner Maged Al-Saidi give him credit. This is a screenshot from surveillance footage of the man from inside the deli. When Al-Saidi refuses, the man leaves, but then comes back and waits for Al-Saidi to leave. The owner of the bodega at around 11:15 last night closes up, and as he walks to his car, the man approaches with a knife and stabs him 10 times.
The guy waited hours.
This is the same guy. This is the same guy that's been advocating on behalf of the bodega workers. And he said, listen, man, it's too bad out in these streets. Listen, we all know these type of guys. I've seen them. If you've ever been raised in a hood, if you've ever been raised in that environment, you went to the corner store, you went to the gas station. We see it all the time. Hey, man, I'll get you back as soon as I come back, bro. And then the person behind the counter, oh, no, you paid me back last time. You didn't pay me back. I did get you, man. Listen, I promise, man. Hey, man, let me just get a couple. Let me get this. Come on, man. You know I'm good for it, man. I've been coming to you for years, bro. So wait a minute. I'm not good for it? So I've been patronizing you and buying all of this stuff for years, and I'm not good for it, bro? You know, man, these dudes want credit. How you going to ask for credit at the corner store, at the bodega? We know this. We've seen it 1,000 times. No. Oh, why am I still in business right here? It's getting bad out here. No, you can't take the merchandise. You can't take merchandise. And then you got the Arabic. Habibi, come on. I got the family to feed. Habibi, I got the family to feed. And so we used to it. I've seen this 1,000 times. You've seen it 1,000 times. But over in New York, it's getting a little bit extra.
I'm talking about 4 or 5 hours after the incident. Waited for him to leave the store, to get in his car, and waited for him there, and there he stabbed them 10 times.
The United Bodegas Association of America calling for more.
Keep asking for cigarellos. You know you in the hood. Hey, man, you got cigarellos? No, we can't sell anymore. They're going to find out. Hey, man, let me get a cigarello, bro. Come on, man. Or here's another one. Hey, let me get a Lucy. Let me get a Lucy, man. Then they start doing like this. You know how they do on the Lucy's. Or they get a whole pack because they just got their check. It's the smoke coming out the nose now. What does this do? What does this do when you're a cigarette smoker? Y'all listen, I think that cigarette smokers should all be hired because they are the most dedicated people to their habits that I've ever seen in my entire life. Cigarette smokers are the most dedicated people that I've ever seen. It could be 0 degrees outside and it's no smoking in the building and they all be huddled up outside like this trying to stay warm. Looking like crackheads out there. I seen a lady smoking a cigarette the other day. I said, ooh, y'all still do that? Y'all still do that? Out there 30 times a day, every 15 minutes. They taking every 15-minute break. Cold as hell outside. 0 degrees. I said, these are the most dedicated people I've ever seen in my entire life. Hire them all. That's the first thing that you smoke. They think it's a bad thing. I said, no, seriously, you smoke? No, not trees, because tree smokers are lethargic. Cigarette smokers are welcome. Do you smoke cigarettes? Yeah, I smoke cigarettes. Okay. Hey, get her in there. They'll work 27 hours straight, as long as they can get that 15-minute break every hour. All huddled up together. It's cold outside. I said, it must be some crack in there. What do they got inside? Listen, I will smoke crack first before I smoke a cigarette. I will smoke crack first before I smoke a cigarette, because whatever they put inside that cigarette that got y'all out there in the cold.
Action to end assaults on their bodega workers, calling on Governor Kathy Hochul to allow prosecutors to prosecute and judges to be able to hold criminals without bail.
We don't deserve to be attacked, looted, robbed. And then when you call 911, the cops come, they make an arrest. They're out in the streets hours later, doing it again and laughing in our faces.
It's no love over there in New York. But anyways, on another note, this is also what was happening on the other side of town. Check it out. In the migrant shelter.
A melee erupting on Randall's Island overnight at the migrant shelter there. The fight ending with a person stabbed. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini is live right now on location with the latest with what police are telling us about what happened. Steph.
Arthur, good evening. According to the NYPD, a male migrant was stabbed in the shoulder and taken to a nearby hospital. There's a police presence here on Randall's Island today. Yesterday, a lot of cops responded. Chaos and a heavy police presence at the migrant shelter on Randall's Island. Just before 8 p.m. on Friday, the NYPD responded to a call. Detectives say it started as a fight and escalated to a stabbing. A 25-year-old male victim was taken to a hospital and 2 men were taken into custody. A lot of people on one side and then on the other side, people, they were running, says this man, a migrant from Ecuador who lives at the shelter.
Let me guess, he don't speak no English. I told Mika the other day, I said, I'm going to learn me some Spanish. Yes, I am. Poquito Taco Bell. Only thing I kept saying is, gracias. No, a lick of Spanish. Taquito Taco Bell. Taquito Taco Bell. I'm going to learn me some Spanish, boy. I'm telling you. Oh, yes. Over the next year, we gonna be talking to us some Espanol. Yes, I'm going to do the American version of this show, and I'm going to do the Espanol. Espanol murder? Yes. Yes.
What happened yesterday is very bad for us, he says, adding, not just a problem with us, but the help they are giving us from one moment to another. They could
Okay, we get it. Y'all stab each other every day. Let's go over to Kathy Hochul. They saying that her numbers. I mean, come on, man. We so used to migrants over in this country. They be over there knife fighting, stealing scooters, robbing people, taking lives, squatting in homes, getting over here, taking trips up to Chicago and back and forth to New York in order to get more benefits. We get it. It all comes back down to one person, though. It rolls up, not come down. Rolls up to one person.
Well, a new Siena College poll showed mixed news for Governor Hochul.
While New York voters seem to back her decision to pull the emergency brake on congestion pricing, her overall approval and favorability numbers are at record lows. Fox 5's Richard G. Kovas takes a closer look.
Yes, I put congestion pricing on pause.
Once Governor Kathy Hochul pumped the brakes on congestion pricing earlier this month, most drivers rejoiced, while some mass transit commuters wondered if the crumbling subway infrastructure will ever get fixed. But a new poll from the Siena College Research Institute finds that, yes, New Yorkers approve of the delay on tolls, but are not in favor of the New York governor.
Doing one thing to appease people isn't going to make you a person that anybody really likes.
I just think that congestion.
I go get my Rosetta Stone on. I got to do something. So many people that speak Spanish around me.
Pricing, they have to stick with it.
Look at that haircut. Is she sweating it out? Is this what women say, that I got to be careful in the heat because I don't want my hair to sweat out? Jesus.
Not having it, and it would be terrible for the city.
Out of more than 800 voters polled this month, a total of 45% of registered New York voters say they support the congestion pricing delay, while 23% oppose it. When it comes to Hochul, the governor's numbers reached a record low. 38% of voters viewed Hochul favorable,
they need to bring
while nearly
back
50% don't approve of the job she's doing.
Congestion pricing and the complete change almost overnight makes it look like, guess what? She really wasn't in charge.
A surprise? Not according to political experts who believe Hochul's flip-flopping on congestion pricing, but also mass transit, could have driven her approval numbers to an all-time low.
The electorate is in a sour mood. They didn't like congestion pricing, but they also don't like subways that aren't fully funded, aren't functioning, and are in notable need of repair. So your city numbers aren't going to go up with a move like this.
Commuters say they're not surprised either.
People just don't approve of her. They don't have confidence.
It's a bit like if you're going back on your word.
Political experts say with an increasing amount of Democrats angry over the indefinite pause of congestion pricing, Governor Hochul could face a primary challenge when she's up for re-election in 2026.
That's the only reason that she did it, is because she wanted to make sure that she tried to put herself in a position to get reelected. And that's why she put the pause on the pricing. They will mess up the money. They'll do whatever it is that they want to do in order to get reelected. So they don't care. These governors, these politicians, most of them, they don't care anything about you. They genuinely don't care anything about you. But the problem with y'all is that not only will y'all continue to either vote them in, even if you vote them out, you're going to vote somebody in that's going to do the same thing. It's stupid. It's stupid. Y'all had people in there that cleaned up crime. Y'all didn't necessarily help them or support them. And now y'all get what it is that y'all voted for. So it really don't even matter if y'all remove these people, because y'all going to wind up putting yourself in the same exact position again anyway. So what difference will it make? You got rid of Beetlejuice over there in Chicago, and then you wind up getting Brandon Johnson, who's basically just running roughshod over there in them streets, all right? Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to continue over to the last part of the show, which I'm not even sure what's the last thing on the part of the show. We'll get there. AL says, did you catch the email I sent you about Kansas suing Pfizer over the jab? Well, we knew that was coming. I'll have to check it out. I've been trying to get things back together since I got back in town, AL. Thank you, my friend. Ardilla Squirrel says, most Americans do now understand how little control of the states that the U.S. government has. State governors are the true runners of their part of the country. We learned that during the pandemic, Ardilla Squirrel. We learned that during the pandemic, every state did what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. That is a fact. It's the states that run the United States of America. It is not the president, all right? Chris Z says, F Rosetta Stone, Duolingo is better. Hola, what is Duolingo? Somebody tell me what Duolingo is. Do I got to get some Duolingo so I can do my Aikido Taco Bell? Aikido Taco Bell. With that little Chihuahua dog. Why is the Mexican dog a Chihuahua? I don't know. Anyways, let's get over into the last part of the show. So, let's talk about Austin. I've been having the heat on Austin because it's just a lot of Californians going over to Austin. It's a lot of Californians going over to Austin, and I don't understand it. Well, I do understand it. Y'all want to make Austin like California. And you know who I feel sorry for the most? Texans. I do. I feel sorry for Texans in general, because I see Texas eventually going blue. May not happen within the next 8 years. It may take 12 to 16 years. But as more people, it's a language app. All right, I'm going to have to check it out. My Spanish is terrible. My Espanol is terrible. It's okay. It's all right. You know what they do understand? Moolah, baby. You pull out that moolah. Oh, senor. Senor. Yes. Sí, senor. Gracias. But as more people leave California and sell their homes and try to avoid the rich tax and the mansion tax and all of that stuff, right? They coming to y'all more than, listen, when I see new home in Texas, move to Texas, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, move to this weird suburb in Texas. They are absolutely going to turn Texas blue. I believe it in my soul. See, the one thing that y'all got wrong over in Texas is that y'all think that y'all too big to fail. You're disillusioned right now. You're confused. Because you think that, no, they not going to do there over here. The sheriff is the one that controls things. Okay. All right. See what's happening in Houston? They said they broke. Dallas, sassy. Austin is just basically California. That's all Austin is. Austin is California. And so y'all arrogant right now. You haughty. You think that you can't get touched. It's impossible for them to turn your red to blue. Put enough black in it. Put enough yellow in it. Put enough purple in it. Put a little rainbow in it. Guess what you're going to have? California. I think that Gavin Newsom should run for governor over there in Texas one day. We'll get there. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Let's get to it.
The latest inflation numbers show that nationwide rents have cooled from historic highs, but it's not reaching every rental market or every renter. Austin, Texas is one of the places where rents are showing a downward trend, but lower income families there say their rents are often staying the same or even going up. Blair Waltman-Alexon of Austin PBS tells us who's getting a deal in the Texas capital and who's not.
Está bien. Marilu Jaimes had achieved that rare dream in Austin, finding an apartment that was close to everything she needed.
Estaba cerca de la biblioteca, cerca de...
It was close to the library, close to the grocery store, close to my daughter's school, also from work. It was the best. I was close to everything. Now I feel like I'm going to use a lot of gas.
She's worried about burning gas because soon she will be moving about 45 minutes outside of town. She's leaving because her rent's gone up and she can't afford to stay.
Hey, remember when the American dream used to be to buy a house? Remember when the American dream used to be to buy a house? Now, do you know what the American dream is? You know what the American dream is? The American dream is to just find a place that's reasonable to rent. You got it right. Affordable rent. We have become such a nation that is broken and don't have any kind of understanding of financial literacy or what we was getting ourselves into and the way that we voted, that we've now reduced ourselves to getting affordable rent, just having a place to lay your head at night. That's what we've reduced ourselves to. Yes, we did. Affordable rent. Affordable rent.
I used to pay $1,040 and suddenly that was raised to $1,530. It doesn't seem fair to me that after so many years they simply raised the rent so much that we have no other option but to leave this place.
But reports show that rents are going down in Austin. A study by Rent.com showed rents dipping more than 12% year over year.
Yeah, so it's not all bad.
Jake Wegman is an associate professor in the Community Regional Planning program at the University of Texas.
We were flooded with headlines about how all of America was moving to Austin, and developers responded to that.
So Austin's population increased, especially during the pandemic, about 6% between 2020 and 2022. And demand for housing increased as well. This drew a lot of developers to build apartments, and maybe, as it turned out, too many apartments.
I hate these cookie cutter apartments that they got. It's almost like these cookie cutter neighborhoods where nobody have any character. I personally, and this is just in my opinion, and I actually got a video that I got coming out in the Patreon where I talk about taxes and a little bit more real estate and what to look for, what not to look for. One of the things, I'll give you a little bit of insight. One of the things that I always say is stay away from condos. Stay away from condos. One of my number one things, well, the number one thing is always make sure you stay away from the hood in general. But one of my number one things is to stay away from condos. Stay away from HOA fees. Stay away from condos. They don't appreciate it at the same rate as single family homes that's in a decent neighborhood that also have great schools. Stay away from especially these cookie cutter property management, BlackRock owned, throw them up in 5-minute condos, bro. They all look just like this. All across America, no matter what city you in, no matter what state you in, this is one of the things that I hate. I hate these cookie cutter, throw a couple amenities, throw a gym in there and think that you good condos. I think that these are absolute trash. Just see so many of them and they just so overpriced.
One report showed that as of last fall, almost 20,000 more multifamily units were delivered than released. And it's got some landlords offering deals to
and it's
bring
nothing
in
wrong. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with apartments. I'm saying that when they look like these cookie cutter apartments, they all look the same with no character. I just don't like it. It's because I'm a fan of architecture, so it's a little different for me.
Maybe 2 years ago, they'd feel like they were jostling for an apartment, and now the landlord is saying, hey, like if you sign this 12-month lease, then I'll give you a month or more of free rent.
So I would say the biggest thing has been rent increases, and we're seeing that throughout Austin in a lot of low-income housing properties specifically.
Jasmine Rivera is an outreach specialist with Basta, a group that works with low-income renters like Jaime's. She says they see residents struggling with a very tight housing market.
We do have a lot of folks that are saying there's no housing I can find that's within my range that I can afford right now, and so they're definitely moving to the outskirts of Austin, which is really, really hard.
That's the challenge Jaime's found herself in.
I love condos to rent. I don't love condos to own. I love condos to rent. So meaning that, like, I like apartment buildings, I like condos, I like all of that. I like them to rent out. I don't like them to own. I don't. As an owner, even if I'm renting it out to somebody else, and I'm talking about I like them to rent out for me. Like, they're convenient. I don't have to worry about no maintenance, any stuff like lifestyle, it makes sense. But to own it, I think that it's a bad idea. And like I said, I'll dig into that in a Patreon video, and we could debate about it.
Well, I thought about moving, and that's what I'm going to do because I have no other option. It's too much money. I can't pay it because I can't pay so much rent alone.
So if there are all of these new apartments...
Look, they all look the same. They all look the same. Cookie cutter, throw them up on every block, concentrate the population. They all look the same. And then they throw some contrasting colors, white with the gray and all of that. And it's the same, bro.
Lower income families find a place to stay.
Most of our newer housing remains unaffordable if it's market rate. Of course, if we created...
Aves Ashar is with Housing Works Austin. And he says part of the problem with a lot of these new buildings, they're aimed at high-income earners. Nationwide, 89% of new apartments built in the last couple of years were considered high-end. They're also the ones getting deals on rent. One report showed that in Texas cities, luxury apartments saw bigger price drops than middle-tier rentals.
What we're seeing in terms of construction of housing is we're seeing, of course, some more higher-end apartments being built.
Well, they're selling them to institutional investors. So, for example, what's basically happening in the market today is the reason why you see so many of these places going up all across the country is because the developers are making a killing off of developing these apartment buildings or these condos or whatever, because what happens is once they fill them up and once you get it past a certain threshold as far as the percentages and vacancy rates, then it makes it much more attractive to be able to offload the entire property, in which they make basically millions of dollars because of the cost and the risk of developing it, but then being able to pass it over into an institutional buyer, which that's when you start to see the property management change over. Once they meet a certain threshold of how many people that they get inside of the building, the value of the property goes up and then makes it more marketable. They sell it over into an institutional investor that's trying to basically figure out some places to deploy money in order to have a stable, great return on whatever their investment is. And that's how they make money. It's all a cycle. And so basically, a lot of these developers are incentivized to continue to throw the money up because they're working for the quick cash, which they're making a whole lot of, instead of being more focused on caring about the community. And this is why you need people like me. This is why you need people that are business holders or people that wants to develop the community, or the people that's not price gouging. It's so few of us because there's so many people that's just putting money above community. And I think that you can do both. I think that you can be profitable. You can make a decent amount of money while at the same time serving the community and adding value to it and continuing to grow the community and making it a productive place for people to live, work, and play. You know what I'm saying? But they're incentivized to do it because institutional investors are buying them out. And so if they hold on to them for a little bit, even if they don't fully rent it out, they'll be able to pass that cost over and they'll make a whole bunch of money as a result of it. But it's a bubble. It is absolutely a bubble.
At the same time, this gap between housing costs and the gap between income has been growing for over a decade in Austin and other parts of the nation.
This earning gap didn't just increase the going rate for housing in Austin. It also skewed a number that has a big impact on low-income housing. The median family income, or MFI. sometimes referred to as the AMI, or average median income.
And this is what's happening, right? Throughout all of this, as we see this and we learn more about money and finances and resources and stuff, you know what's happening? The regular everyday person is being priced out. And this is why I say the middle class is going away. Because when you combine greed with institutional investors, also with cookie cutter, no quality, no sense of community, no understanding and no standards from legislators, and they just throwing these communities up as fast as possible in order to create a bigger tax base so that they can fill the holes within their budgets. What you basically have is an erosion of the middle class because nobody is actually paying attention to the people that's being priced out. That's why you have so many migrants coming into this country, because you can't even afford to live in the places that you want to work in. You can't afford to live in the Wyomings. You can't afford to live in Boise. You can't really afford to live close to where you live. And so that also incentivizes the auto manufacturing companies to make more cars, because you're going to say, well, I need to get back and forth to work every day. And we don't have a great mass transportation system in the United States of America. It's all one circle. It's a circle jerk. It is. I mean, honestly, in reality, it's a circle jerk. And so the way that they also, let me tell you what the cherry on top. Let me tell you the cherry on top, right? The cherry on top is then to distract you with thinking that it's a systematic racism issue. It's easy to distract you from the class issues and a class war when you can focus on race, and you can focus on discrimination against gay people, or you can focus on being distraction with abortion laws, or you can focus on whether or not you like this person or whatever. It's so easy to distract you from what's really happening and what's going to affect your family. And so instead of you voting on policy, you vote on politics and identity politics. And you say, well, I'm going to vote for this person because I don't like that person, instead of paying attention to what's in your best interest as an individual and what's going to affect your family. It's one big circle jerk. It's one big circle jerk. And then you roll the dice. Now, 100,000 is really 50,000. And inflation is out of control. You can't afford to live. And now y'all got to get married and shack up in order for you to even survive. Otherwise, you can go and live van life. Or you can join the bag chasers and learn how to get this bag and capitalize off of the circle jerk. That's the other option that you have. But neither here nor there. I don't want to discourage you from doing the thing that's in your best interest. Let me read a couple of super chats and then we're going to get it popping. And I'm going to give y'all some final thoughts as far as housekeeping, and then we're going to get to it. Jamal Fowler says, tapping in on the Money Monday. Shout out to you, Jamal Fowler. Chat for Morris says, but if you get a good deal to buy a property with good cash flow, it'll make sense to add it to the portfolio. I don't focus on cash flow. That's why you got to join the Patreon, bro. I don't care about cash flow. That is the fastest way to get yourself in trouble. Notice how nobody is talking about how many doors they have anymore. Notice how nobody is talking about how many doors they have anymore. Similarly to how they used to talk about when it came to the trucking industry. Because the interest rates is preventing them from being able to make a deal based off of the cash flow. Now everybody is becoming flippers because they can't finance the properties and be able to keep people in them. And plus you have laws inside of a lot of these different states like California that's preventing you from not only getting squatters out, but also people that choose not to pay the rent. Then it's going to take you 2 years to be able to get them out. Meanwhile, you got to carry the property. And the interest rates is too high, so you're not really cash flowing. And if you have 2 or 3 months where the person don't pay the rent, you in a negative for the next 2 years. It's the riskiest thing that you can do to your portfolio is just get doors based off of cash flow instead of having a long-term real estate strategy. Listen, y'all got to stop listening to these gurus that ain't got no skin in the game. You got to stop listening to these gurus that don't have no skin in the game. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about because they don't own nothing. They ain't never built nothing. They don't really understand it. They just in the bubble like everybody else. They're in a bubble just like everybody else. They finessing, oh man, get a property, get the equity in it, take the money out, go and get another property. That way you got 6, 7, 8, 9 doors. Get out of here with that nonsense. Thank you, Chatfer. I appreciate you. These people have one, got to replace the roof. Let the furnace go out and it costs you $7,000 to be able to replace the furnace in the cold air. And then see what happens. Then they start putting it on the credit card. Then they just trying to get out of the property. And then that's when somebody like me comes in and then get it for the low because I knew that you was in over your head when you got it. And now I'm going to be able to take advantage of the fact that you thought that you was doing it because you was listening to people on the internet that didn't know what they was talking about. Name Joe says, showing love to the platform bag chasers forever, ever. Shout out to you. Tech Coach Ralph says, remember when you said 2 to 3 years ago, 40 to 50,000 wasn't enough and they thought that you was crazy? Well, they always think that you're crazy until you're not. You know what I'm saying? Kim One in the building says the struggle in this nation is real. America needs a domestic debt forgiveness act implemented. Nope. They need to solve for the problems. It's not about debt forgiveness because all you're using is taxpayer dollars. This will help resolve 90% of the problems America faces. I disagree. 1,000%. Send me the video. I'll react to it. I'll break it down to you why they wrong. I will break it down to you why they wrong. If that's what they saying, I will break it down to you why they wrong. All right? Anyways, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in on a Monday. Anton is late for his 9:30 meeting. Actually, I'm in the 9:30 meeting right now. I'm just not in the meeting. You know what I'm saying? I'm kicking it with y'all. Again, no Q show tonight. We will have a produced show that I'm moving up from Wednesday onto Monday, and then I'll have to produce another one from Wednesday because Q is out of town, and I want her to enjoy her vacation. So we're not going to do the show without her. Not this week anyways. We just going to keep on adding value into y'all life. I can't keep taking everybody's house. Why not? Everybody else do it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. No Q show tonight, but I'm going to premiere a show for y'all. Hopefully y'all love it. I think that it's awesome. I think that you guys are going to enjoy it. Be careful. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves and run that bag up. Make sure you join the Chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Don't fumble, y'all, because Anton going to be here in the Chasers. We're going to swoop that property up.